life is about collecting memories, moments, experiences, and treasure. What will you be collecting next? Join us on Collector Quests. Hey everyone, my name is David Lionheart, and welcome back to Artist Interviews on Collector Quests. Today we're welcoming in the great and powerful Duke. Duke has worked for some of the top tier names in the card business. Topps, Upper Deck, Dynamite, and he's found himself in over a dozen sets in just 2 years for some of the well-known franchises like Marvel, Red Sonja, Transformers. It's a great honor to welcome in this very exciting artist. Let's get to the interview.
Sounds good.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us on our artist interview project today on Collector Quests, and the art that I have of yours will be on exhibit in our gallery in July of 2026, and this interview will accompany that, so any of the kids or anybody who comes in to see the original artwork will get a chance to meet the artist and hear a little bit more about you. And so thank you so much for joining us today. And yeah, we're gonna. I always like to just go back in and start talking through, how you discovered art, or if art found you, or when did that happen for you?
Okay, so, did art find me, or did I find art? That's it's a really interesting question. Go away, email alerts. Just so you know, this is working hours, and I may be slightly interrupted, but I'm trying to ignore it.
That's okay.
So, but anyways. I would definitely say I found art. I've always been drawing. It's like a constant in my life, right? Always. I can't think of a time I wasn't. There is one time I kind of stopped, and that was right after college. And to be honest, I was devastated after college. I really felt I wasn't good enough, so I stopped drawing for a year, and that was something, but it did teach me something. Even though I stopped, even with all that self-doubt, I felt that when I'm not drawing, even if I don't draw for a few days, I start to really feel off. And I don't know if I can explain this right, but it's I feel off. It's almost like I start feeling depressed. I wouldn't say really depressed, but I don't feel right. So it kind of proved to me during that time that I don't need to seek any validation for being good enough from anyone else. It's more like a fundamental part of who I am. It's it's something I have to do to feel like myself, It's really strange, but it's just I need to create something,
What were you creating at that time that you took the break? Right before that, were you always illustrating? Were you sketching at that time, or was it a different medium?
Yeah.
Creativity?
No, I was drawing. I went to school for traditional animation. So it was a very, very severe program. This is at a time before we were doing computers, right? Yeah. So it was all flipping and drawing and stuff. But education was different back then, and the teachers were brutal. They would be and I don't know if I can swear on this, but
you can do whatever you want.
That is shit.
Yeah.
There's no oh, you know what you could do to improve this or make this better? It was that's shit. You're never going to make it. That's, the kind of mentality you got. And it was very, very, soul crushing in a sense,
Did you have the same love for the art back then that you do now? Obviously, it's been restored and kind of probably grown, but were you also constantly creating back then during that time in college? Obviously, because you were going to school for it.
Yeah.
That was almost like creating for a job, similar to what you're doing now artistically, and the volume that you were creating at back then, and to get that kind of a news. What was it like the first day you stopped drawing?
Well, I would just say I was really depressed, but it was more what am I going to do with my life? If I'm not good enough to draw and make a living off of it, what am I going to do? And my first real job after that was actually, I started working in an art supply store. So it's I knew what everything was, and I was good at it,
But you were still an arm's reach away from some pencils if you needed.
Yeah, exactly. That's really what it was. It was just I was just, I don't know, just devastated. And I think it was mainly just the industry was really, really cutthroat back then. And it was really hard. It's like, say, like I kind of remember it's about 175 kids started in my program in the first year. By the second semester, it was down to 100. By second year, you were down to 75. By second year, second semester, we were at like 50 kids. And then, or students, I shouldn't say we're kids at the
Yeah.
college level, but still, like, but by the time the third year was done, it was like only like 22 kind of kids would graduate, you
Wow.
know?
And
So,
it's so important because I had a similar experience, but I found art about 7 years ago. I've always been artistic, and I was involved like any other kid, creatively.
mhm.
But I found art as an adult, and I was so excited, and I was painting, and I had a gentleman who was a master of fine arts, and a friend of mine, and I was like, "Come over and check out my stuff. I'd love to show it to you." And I'm so excited about it, and he did exactly what happened to you. He's like,
Oh no.
do you really want me to tell you what this is?" I said, "Sure." He's like, "It looks like shit," and he's like, "Here's why. That this is unintentional. The spray paint is overlapping on this piece. This is over here. This is sloppy." He's like, "None of this is intentional." He's like, blah, blah, blah. And so I went and he left. We had our dinner and our wine. He left, and I went in the driveway, and I stayed up all night painting over top of everything that I had painted at that point. But
Yeah.
I did take away, and I was an adult, at the time. So I did take away from something that he told me, that I had to begin looking at intent for my art. So in your situation, when you got told that at that age, where's the fine line that we can find with our students to give them a little bit of tough love, but also to help encourage and nurture clearly an amazing talent, that's there.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think we can do now to have like different conversations like that for kids?
Well, I mean, obviously, like, actually, I was in line the other day at a comic book store signing, but I was talking to a friend of mine who's grew up and is now like a high school art teacher, and we were actually kind of having a similar conversation. Shout out to Mike. But anyways, if he ever sees this, he was talking about, it's like his students would ask him, it's like, "Sir, like, why, you're so good at art. Why would you, why don't you pursue it? Why don't you make lots of money in it?" And like, sure, he still loves to draw, but he loves to teach it too. But he's like, he said, let's just take our population for example. It's like, say I'm better than 99% of the city people in the city, right? And he's like, you're doing the numbers, like, he says, that means there's 4,000 people here that are better than me. 4,000 people,
Yeah.
that are better than me at this, that are more qualified. So it is, to make money in art, it's really, you have to have that passion. But like, if you just want to make art and enjoy it, just do it, right?
Yeah.
And just keep it improving. But if you want to make a career and make money at it, you kind of have to be aggressive in a sense. You have to look at it as a business model. You can't just look at it as art. That's the thing. I mean, that's the difference I would say to kids, like, depending on where they want to take themselves. But if they're really serious and they want to make money that way, doesn't mean that one artist is better than another, because the one making money could be horrible compared to somebody who just does it for passion.
Yeah.
It's all just how you do it and how you market yourself. Everything is about branding yourself and, creating that I don't know, price point. It's like, you never want to do like, "Oh, I'll draw for $25 an hour" or something like that. It's like, no, you want to do what's called like value-based pricing. It's like, this is worth this much money, right? To you, to me, to the environment, the collectors or whatever. It's like, if I'm drawing something for, my mom's friend, sure, it might be a $25 drawing. But that same drawing, if I was drawing it for something like Pepsi or Coca-Cola, that's a $3,000 drawing.
Yeah.
So that's what value-based pricing is more about. It's like, what is the importance? What's this being used for? And such like that. But
Do you think that parallels over to the way that they value themselves as well? Like, not just the cost of the art, but the value that they put on themselves as people too.
okay, so that's one big thing I did have to learn really young. It's like, my art is my art. I am me.
Yeah.
Even though, as I said, it's like, I need to create something to feel alive, kind of like, or I get kind of sad or whatever. I feel like that is just a piece of paper and some ink or paint on it. That is not me. Somebody
Yeah.
could rip that to shreds. Somebody could, do whatever they say about it. That is not me. Sure, I made it, but that's not me. We've got to keep that very separate, right? It's
Yeah.
not it's not you, you
Uh,
know.
I do mentorship for students and student athletes, and at an event last year with this team, we do like a 3 day physical and mental camp and encouragement camp, and it's very uplifting. And I picked up a lacrosse ball that a lawnmower must have chewed up, and I said,
Hmm.
"Look, I said all of our equipment will crumble and fail. The helmets will get destroyed, but the one thing that the other team can't take away from you is the thing they can't see. It's the one thing that's inside." And
Yeah.
I asked the coach if I can keep the chewed up lacrosse ball as my souvenir, for that trip. It's a good reminder.
That's your trophy. Yeah.
Exactly like you said.
Perfect.
Like the paper can rip, the painting can fly into the Hudson River, but it doesn't change what's happening on the inside. And that's really great. Thank you for touching on that. And now you mentioned that you want to do a little bit of drawing today while we're having our
Yeah.
conversation. You want to do a little switch over, and we'll kind of
Yeah.
chat while you're switching over.
Sure. Let's see. Because I had to use the same camera and get this right, and hopefully it'll focus. Now, I wonder if I can turn off blurred backgrounds now. I'm just gonna pick up Zoom because I think it's gonna
Yeah, take your time. You can make it right.
video. Let's see. Where's the settings?
I'm so interested
Blur
in what
back.
your education in traditional animation
Yeah.
and the flipping of the
Like
uh,
drawings.
drawings. Has that played a role in the way that you create now? I feel like you create so quickly when you're getting these thoughts and these images out there. Did that start stemming from that original education that you were receiving?
I wouldn't say really that, but I mean, traditional animation did teach me a lot of things. Like, essentially, when we were in school, we were drawing like 8 drawings an hour.
Wow.
Where people in the industry like were doing like 16 drawings an hour. But
Wow.
to think about doing it like that, so you had to draw fast because it's all about production at that point, right? And it is slightly different, but let me just say, okay, so because the work that you have of mine is sketch cards, and I'll talk about that for a little bit first.
Yeah.
My process, because cards are very, let's find something right now. Here, yeah, that one will be good. Okay, there might be glare, so I'll open it out of the one touch case. Because collectors really try to value their art, their cards, right? They want everything as pristine as possible, like corners or whatever, dents, any kind of scratches, like that will devalue a card. Now, granted, if it's a 1-in-1 sketch card, it doesn't matter if it's got a big slash across it, it's still the only one.
Yep.
But you want to try and preserve things as much as possible. So when I started doing sketch cards, my whole idea was, okay, the more you draw and you're trying to figure out your drawing, the more you're damaging the paper, erasing something or starting over, or like, oh, let's move this arm this way, or this finger should be bent here or there or whatever. The more you're doing that on the actual card is the more you're damaging it. So I started using this old technique that artists use, and I'm sure you're aware of it, right? So all I do is take like regular paper and I cut a whole bunch of scraps, and I have them always like beside me, kind of thing. just scraps of paper, just so that I can draw on them for what I want the card to be, right? So it'll be like a pencil sketch like this, right? Whoops,
Yep.
let me get that right. And then what I'll do is I'll take a pencil and I shade the back. Trying to get that in the camera right.
Yep.
I keep going left when I'm supposed to go right.
Mhm.
Zigzagging. So I just shade the back, and I use like the green painter's tape, or some people call it frog tape, right? And I tape it onto my blank card. And when I do that, then I can take like a pen, and I'm using, this is a Micron. I know it's probably backwards in the window. We might have
No,
to
you're
reverse
you're
it.
good.
I don't.
It's perfect.
Okay. Maybe I'm seeing it backwards because sometimes it does that. But this actually has a point. It's not like how usual ink pens are just like a nib.
Yeah.
That it's kind of flexible. This is a hard point. And the reason why I use that is because I know I'm not damaging the nib as I'm doing it. And I'm just basically doing my outline, right? Even though I got a bunch of scribbles all over on my drawing. But when I do that, it transfers that pencil onto the card, right?
Cool.
And even this isn't like kind of like my final thing, because my next step when I'm drawing a card is, I gotta grab one of these now, is I take another ink pen, okay? And this is a very light gray.
Okay.
So, and you'll see that this nib is, is more, I'm just gonna put my finger there, maybe it'll help. You know, it's not like the pointed one.
It's like a fine tip.
Yeah, like this one is pointed and hard, but this here is like a felt tip, and it's flexible, even though it's small, because this is a small pen. On the right cap. But basically, then I can sit there and just go and take this and go across. Now, when I'm doing this and a lot of people see, it'll look pretty dark, actually. I mean, you can barely tell, but it's there. It looks pretty dark because we have a white background.
Yeah.
But the reason why I use this is because my method of doing the cards is always coloring them with marker.
Okay.
But this, when I'm coloring with marker, the alcohol will sometimes take that pencil completely away, and I'll lose my guidelines, right? And when you're working on something that small, so this will help keep it there, but it'll still be faint enough where it won't matter, right? So then when you do it, I'll just grab some cards that I have around that aren't sold yet. You know, you won't be able to really see it too much, but they are there. And then, like, a lot of times I'll go over the line with like with a white, you know, to accent it.
Yeah.
I'll grab some other examples. So.
Wow, they're so nice. You're really doing the same picture over and over again, from the graphite to the pens to before you even get to the coloring process. You're really familiarizing yourself with the art.
Yeah, that is a good way of putting it. It's like there's the pencil stage, so my loose rough, and then I transfer it. That's the third or second time. I do it again with the ink, then I color it, and then even still at the very end, I should show, like, there are like sketches for these two.
Yeah.
Right? I'll see it if I have others. Let's see. Yeah, this one we can do next. Oh, there it is. I was looking for that. See, that was the first one, right?
Yeah, so cool.
And you can see it's just basic ideas sometimes, though. It's not like, oh, let's perfectly put the webs in or something. It's still pretty loose, right? Like this one is like this. Like, even for like bricks in a building, I'm just doing some quick hatches because I know I can fix that later.
I saw you post that. That came out remarkable. That looks really, really good.
Or like this one, right, which became this one.
Wow.
And a lot of times I am not worried about doing a perfect, nice background as detailed as the character. I'm doing like a soft focus, like a camera would, because we want our focus on our character, right? But enough of a hinted background, you know, like even here, I'm not doing every brick, right? I'm not worried about the bricks being perfect either. It's more about just a hint of it, because it's just a cart and it's tiny, right? Like, her head is like the size of my pinky finger, right?
Right.
You know, but sometimes you can do a bit bigger, right?
I commented on one of your posts, and you wrote back, you're like, yeah, it is pretty good considering her head's this smaller than a pinky nail. You know, like, it's so tiny.
So I figure, we can keep going through questions, and I'll keep like just kind of going through the process here. Now, it does take me 2 hours to finish a card, so I don't think I'll get to that point, but
well, we can stop whenever you want, and we'll just dive. Let's just start with what we're looking at. So one thing that's really, really cool is when I first discovered, I didn't even know what a sketch card was, really, because I stopped kind of card collecting at one point, and then I jumped back in about a couple of years ago, and the first sketch card I ever pulled was from this X-Men '97 series, and it was a Rich Henneman Juggernaut card. And I fell in love. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. And I've told the story 100 times, but I was just fascinated that there was a real painting, and art has become a big part of my life since I've rediscovered it. And so I even had more of a personal attachment to what these things were. So then, obviously, if you don't pull it out of the pack, the only other place to get some of these licensed cards are through the World Marketplace or eBay and whatnot and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so that's when I saw your artwork and the Wolverine and Sabretooth battle scene in like the sewer, or it was like in the stone archways of like the city or something. It was
Yes,
so
that one.
cool. And I was like, whoa, I was like, that is wild. And then I saw a couple of your other cards, and as a birthday present to myself, I purchased the sketch art number 573, the group photo with Wolverine and X-Men, and I'll put a still shot of that in the post edit. But what was
Hmm.
cool about that was when I saw it listed for sale was that there was the original concept sketch with it, which
Yeah.
is what you have just been showing us here, so the viewer knows. So I thought that was really incredible, and it added so much value for me to see that original concept sketch come with the painting itself. And then now, how did you start doing that? Because obviously I sent it to you, but I pulled one of your cards
Yeah.
on one of these episodes, and outside being a giant dork and having a big freak out about it, you sent me the original concept sketch if the person can prove that they had the artwork, the painting. Like, what got you started doing that to share that piece with the collector?
Okay. So originally, like my first set I did for Upper Deck was Marvel Metal Avengers, and I did the
Cool.
same process, but I was doing what I normally do. Once I'm done with this, right? Garbage, right?
Wow.
I was just throwing them in the garbage, because I'm like, this is just my scrap, right?
Yeah.
It's not the finished piece. I don't need it. But then I started doing shows on Whatnot, and then people would say, "Can I have that too?" I'm like, sure. I
Yeah.
don't see why not, you know? So then I started to make my posts of when I post the artwork when they come out to say that if they contact me, I will mail it to them. Now, this ends up becoming a beautiful find because number one, I'm getting people to actually look for me and contact me.
Yeah.
And I'm getting to make a real connection with somebody who has found my artwork. Whether they sell it or not doesn't matter. But the fact that they did, I actually get to connect with someone instead of it just disappearing into the ether, right?
Yeah.
I've had even people like from like China contact me that have found cards, and I've had to mailed it out to them. It's a bit more expensive, but
Yeah.
I don't mind doing it for that connection. But that is in itself a blessing marketing wise, because now they're following me on social media.
Yeah.
They're seeing when I'm posting up new artwork or putting up stuff for sales, which makes them potential new buyers,
Yeah.
you know. So it just turned out that way. It wasn't like a plan that I thought of, but it's kind of brilliant, you know.
It is, and it's like I'm a builder by trade. I'm a home builder, and there's something beautiful about the tools that make the final product and that part of the process that you don't get to see. It's like going to a winery during harvest and seeing how all the wine's being crushed and getting ready to go to fermentation and so on, like anything else. So I think you're doing a really incredible thing by allowing the collector and the viewer to obtain a piece of the making process.
Yeah.
It's just like another way of receiving you and your artwork. And how do you, maybe I'm premature on the question, but how do you handle the receiving of the affection and the appreciation for your art? Because clearly people are really like, your fans seem like they're huge fans of yours by the way that you're producing this artwork and your style. How do you deal with that?
Well, you know, I gotta say, it's more about okay. So even just before this, I got a message from somebody that just pulled a card, and they sent me the video.
Uh-huh.
And to be honest, like especially because these people are pulling them live and they're recording it, you get to see that real time reaction, right? So when you see the videos of people watching like a trailer for the first time or a film for the first time, their first time reactions,
Yeah.
and you get to see like, oh my, how they react. That to me is exactly where everything is all about.
Yeah.
It's like, it's to me, it's like, it's not how much money I made on the card. It's not how good the card is. It's that moment that is just captured right then and there. when somebody pulls it, you know, and the excitement. And it's like, you have just created a memory that is going to stick with them for life. Like, you know, like
I
at
mean,
least you hope.
my neighbors heard me scream. All right, welcome back, everybody, to Collector Quests. We're in session 3 with Papa Dom, breaking open some Topps Finest X-Men 97. What do you think, man? A couple bangers in that last box.
That last one was pretty good. That's going to be hard to top.
Oh, well, let's hope we got something to talk about.
This is great.
Let's go.
Great.
A lot of fun, man. The cards are just so cool, and it's something different, you know. I kind of got into it once I saw it. It's been inspiring. Again, I'm always looking for the art cards, so a lot of props to all the artists on the roster. Everybody's super talented. I feel like these sketch cards separate themselves from other ones that I've seen.
These cards are pretty nice.
They're really nice. Yeah.
Really. Greatest hits.
Those are the busy ones. Always double check those for a number. How many sneak past me that are numbered? And I went back after I first started collecting this, right?
All numbered on the front.
Yeah, except for on the Sentinel scan, they number them on the back.
Alright.
So with the exception of the Sentinel scan, they should be numbered on the face of the cards. This is a base refractor. Oh my god! Holy sh! Oh my god! I know it's a Duke! It's a Duke sketch card! Oh boy!
Yes!
It's the one I saw. Oh my god, I was just on his Instagram feed. Duke, one day when I meet you, I was on your Instagram feed and saw you post this. I can't believe it. It's the one I really wanted. I shoot in the basement for the episodes, and I had studied your artwork because you became one of my favorite artists on the roster. And so I had seen that card, that group X-Men card that I ended up pulling on your Instagram feed as one of your X-Men promos. And I was like, oh man, that would be really cool. But what are the odds of that? I'm like, I have a better chance of buying it again from somebody who pulls it. And those group cards were just really special because there's very little room for error, I feel like, when you're creating a character, let alone 6 or 7 characters on the same card, tightly grouped together and perfectly balanced and happy. And it's art. It's like nothing's perfect, but it's this beautiful composition of art. So to have that end up in my house, and it's sequential to the piece that I already owned, you know, serial numbered, it was 573 and 574. Like, what are the absolute odds of that? It's almost impossible to say that card I had just previously liked on your Instagram a week earlier ends up in my house and we get to pull it and it's caught on video. Like, it was just incredible. Do you think like technology has changed the way artists can make a living because people can watch you create live on Whatnot? They're videoing themselves finding your artwork. Do you think it's do you think it's benefiting artists, some of this like filming and stuff like that?
Oh, I definitely think it does. Okay, there's 2 reasons though. You touched on a couple things I want to talk about.
Sure.
Number one is about I think for I'm going to go back. I'm going to circle back to what you're asking, but just remind me to when people are collecting the cards, and I just added value to the collection in a sense by having these sketches, right?
Yes. Yep.
And you get that, and you understand, like you get that. The other thing was having that number. Look at that number 900.
Wow.
On the card. I didn't start doing this right away. I started doing it later on.
Huh.
These numbers are representative of how many sketch cards I've drawn in my lifetime.
Wow.
So what you had, 700 and
573 and 574.
573 is 574. Now I drew those in, I would say, December.
Okay.
So you think about how many cards I've drawn since then. You know, we're at 900 already.
Wow. So you did those December of 2024, and the set was released in 2025?
Yes, that's the fastest set I've ever seen come out. To go back to that, like when I did stuff for Upper Deck when they had Marvel, it's like the stuff, it was August of 2024 when my first set came out. I drew that in 2023, August around. So it was a year.
Wow.
I was surprised that the X-Men came out that fast. That Topps was like, boom, right out of the gate. Okay, so the other thing, video. So the other thing is I look at this, I used to just record videos because it helps me to go back and remember, so I can look at it. But it also it helps other people learn, right? Like most of my videos, like 99% of my videos, I'm not speaking, but people can watch and they can see what I'm doing, right? And they can understand the process, especially if they watch a couple of them. And I think that helps teach people. Now, that's also another added value that I like to add. It's like when someone pulls a sketch card now, not only are they able to get this when they get one of mine, they can actually go to my YouTube and they could see it being created.
Yeah.
Right? Which they've never been able to do before. Now, also going back, the group cards. When I started doing sketch cards, because I'm very, very late in the game, people have been doing this for a very long time, right? And I just started doing it just out of, sheer, I don't know, curiosity at first. But I didn't really see people drawing more than one character on a card ever. It's like one character, that's it. So in my first set, I drew 2 characters on each card. But when I was doing the X-Men set, and since you probably remember a long, long time ago, Jim Lee did a X-Men card set back in the 90s, I believe.
Okay. Yeah.
And those cards were beautiful, right? And they're easy to find and they're cheap, right?
I have a lot. I have a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I loved was that they had group cards. And it was like, I haven't seen any group cards. So I decided I'm going to do group cards. Now, the only thing that I hate, though, is that when you're getting these cards, they design them, and they'll have like a logo or something on them. The X-Men cards are kind of an exception. They do have a logo in the top right, but it was made on like carbon or something like a printer. And when the marker went over it, it smeared it.
Okay.
When I was doing my cards. And so basically I just kind of got rid of the logo.
I noticed that it wasn't present, and some of the other artists have drawn around them and to leave it there. Yeah.
But I wasn't expecting it not to show through. So like with these, for example, this Fleer one here, I could draw even marker over top of that. Sure, it would go over the white of the Fleer, no problem, but it stays, right? Or if there's a foil like this,
yeah,
that's even there. You can probably see there's blue marker over top of it, but
yeah,
it's kind of shifted around because I know the light will do it.
Yeah,
but,
it's embossed almost too. It looks like it's like the logo's embossed in a little bit.
So that is what was I trying to say now? But I'm just saying,
you were talking about the group doing the group photo.
Right.
You've never seen it before, and you're able to eliminate the watermark to add more space to work on, probably, right?
Right. But the thing is that what I would like them to do, because they always send us these cards and they're blank, with just this, like that wouldn't be on it because there's no APs anymore, but artist proof. If they also gave us some that are horizontal.
Oh.
Because that would have been better to do the group and get more room there than doing them like a Queen album cover.
Yeah. Because in the one you did of the villains, I think you had Juggernaut in the back, right? And he was up at the top, and I thought that was really good placement of that character for the orientation of the card. Yeah.
But I mean, I could have had a lot more room in a sense to like give them space to be themselves, if it was horizontal. I feel with the vertical, it was like stacking. You don't really have much of an opportunity to create a great composition, but
yeah. So now, can you do that on your own cards though? Can you do
I could do
horizontal?
Because I never put anything on the front of mine, right? So I just have like the back and that's it.
Yeah.
Right? So I could do it horizontal. I've done horizontal before, but I mean, then there's also like the one I did the other day when one of the commissions that was asked for me the other day was the three cards, right? Like so you can add a puzzle where they all connect. But
that is so cool. That's the one that you said the heads were smaller than a pinky nail.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Let's look at Storm right there.
Oh my gosh.
When you think about it.
Wow.
It's like
that's crazy. Now, do you have a preferred medium that you like to work on when you have your cards made? Is there a certain paper or stock that works best for your style and your drawings?
I'm still experimenting. This is only my second print of them.
Yeah.
So the first time I got a regular thickness card. This time I got a 35-point black card,
Okay.
and this has, 35-point card, and it has a black core. I know
Yep.
if I'm trying to get it to focus, but there is a black core in between,
Yep.
and that black core will help prevent bleed. Now,
Yes.
there is bleed does happen sometimes, but you can see, for example, bleed, right?
Yep.
We'll go right through it. But like if it's on one of mine, it doesn't bleed through anymore because it's a thicker card and has that black core. So I started doing that. The thing that I don't like is I did get it matte finish for everything, right? Like there's no finish on it.
Yep.
I do want to get this coated on the back next time.
Okay.
Because when I'm drawing, let's see, you can probably see here, I start to get like little smudges and such. from,
Yeah.
moving it around or whatever.
But
I'm
will
sure I
that
can take an
that might
eraser.
that might impact your signature space though if it was a glossy back?
I have an idea for that too. I'm actually thinking of just doing a black area and then just
Oh.
getting a metallic pen
Oh yeah.
and do that. And I think that'll look nicer anyways.
Yeah,
overall.
like a gold or a silver would be so sweet.
Yeah. Or they even have other kind of metallics, like there's a blue metallic or, a purple one or,
I like it.
Those-
That's a great idea.
that's what I'm thinking. But I got to get through my huge stack of them first, right?
Sure. Yeah. And it evolves constantly, and you probably have some new ideas even between now and the end of that stack that you'll
For
put
sure.
into play. I want to backtrack a little bit on you sharing your technique on the videos, and I have a couple questions about this. But one, I think that's really, really cool that you're doing that because you could also like not do that. Like some artists would be thinking like, I don't want to show how I do it. I don't want to give up my secret. Somebody else
Yes.
will try to make money off of me. I'm getting a sense of who you are a little bit by the things that you do through your creative process and how giving you are of your art and your technique and things like that. Do you think that's going to be able to make, like you said, it's going to make an impact on somebody who wants to learn? Why aren't more artists willing to do that or willing to share in order to help grow the game a little bit and maybe inspire somebody who really needs to learn how to create or might latch onto something?
Well, okay. I have some thoughts, and some of them are negative.
That's okay.
Okay. And all of us as artists use reference at times, and reference all the time. Sometimes, like if you're like, sometimes I'll be asked to create an exact still from a movie, like Thanos fighting Captain America with the hammer. Somebody wants that as a commission, that exact frame from the film, and I will be using that as reference to draw it. But I think that some people don't want to share their stuff because the fact that maybe their reference, they're using it so strongly that they don't want to give away the fact that they're not creating enough. They feel like a hack or a fake.
Got it.
That's one thing. The other is, of course, just the simple fact that people really are, artists are really protective about their process because they're, like you can even use like AI as an example right now. AI is only as good as it is because it's stolen from other artists and photos and everything else.
True.
It stole it all. And so they feel like they don't want it to be stolen, I don't know. Those are my two thoughts on that.
Yeah.
Me, I like to be as transparent as possible. Like when I'm on Whatnot, I will start even at this stage and scan it, like in pencil. My videos, I stopped doing this whole process. I just kind of start recording at this process because the lighting, people can't even see what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Right. So when they start watching the video and the first 10 minutes are all just me moving my hand around and they can't see anything, I was getting bounce rate, like people would just leave. So that was hurting my social media. That was hurting my growth. So I stopped doing that. But then again, I still get every once in a while somebody complaining saying, oh, why don't you show the first part? You're probably cheating or tracing that or something,
Huh.
And I'm like, ugh. You can say that all you want. I have my reasons why I made my decision, but and you don't have to believe me because you didn't see me physically do this little pencil sketch first. But I'm like, I welcome you to come to like my Whatnot shows, and you will see me actually do that process.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's like also a mystique with seeing a piece of art and wondering what happened, like how did it get there and how did it get to that point, right? And then this is a way, and you're I think you're really good with your branding, and your consistency of your videos are really nice, because when you clip them together, like your Instagram posts are really cool because you see like this process going down, and then the final product, they're just remarkable, like they're really beautiful. That now on Whatnot, do you have like the same people watching you on Whatnot, or is it new crowds cycled through? Do they help try and market and find new viewers for you based on what you've done in the past?
No, I don't think Whatnot helps you at all.
Oh, really? I've never watched before. I'm not really familiar with it too much.
Okay, so do you know the artist Frank Cho?
No.
He works for like DC and Marvel. CHO.
Okay.
Anyways, years ago, I saw him and he said that he was going live on Whatnot, whatever, to auction off some artwork or whatever. So I was like, huh, that's interesting. I've never heard of this Whatnot. So immediately after like a little while thinking about it, I went and I downloaded WhatsApp.
Yep.
Which is not the right app at all.
Correct.
And I'm like, I don't get this. I was so frustrated. I'm like, I don't understand.
Oh, that's so funny.
I circled back to it after a while and finally found Whatnot. And when I first started, and I just had my 2-year anniversary there a couple weeks ago.
Congrats.
Okay. And when I found it, what I did was I lurked on it for a while, and I was watching all these artists. And there used to be a comic art section. There was an actual section where you could go, I want to see comic art, right? Or art being drawn or whatever, like people selling art, whatever. But it was niche. And I would be able to, so I was watching these guys for about 6 months, people doing what they did. And most of the time what they do is they start a show and they basically auction off blanks. It's like, okay, you want a commission? I'll do it right now and done, right? And I was like, oh, I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if I could draw live like that. That's like a lot of pressure in interacting with people. So anyways, so I'm going to tell you some secrets of my marketing tactics and how I decided to become a Whatnot person.
Okay.
I'm going to call it that is, and I'll tell you why they don't promote in a minute. But so watching them, what I would do is I noticed there's a system. When someone buys your artwork on Whatnot, they can leave a review, right? You get an instant notification after you get it delivered to you. Review this, and people would leave their reviews like 5 stars or whatever, and write like a comment. So what I did was I used this tactic, and I've even expressed this out to them, like many artists now that were on there. It's like every person that left a review, I added them as a friend on Whatnot.
Oh.
Now, it doesn't mean they're going to add me back, but I knew that they appreciated art so much that they would buy it.
Sure.
Right? So by adding these people ahead of time, I was starting to build an audience without even doing a show yet, right? Or if they would become friends with me or not, it's up to them.
Yeah.
But I'm basically following them. So I know that hopefully I will get real buyers. I'm not like trying to steal their buyers from them, but it's just a potential. I know that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to love my art, but they're never going to buy it, right? And that's fine. I don't mind that. Now, when I joined Whatnot and started doing my shows, about, I would say 6 months after that, they took that whole category away.
Okay.
No more comic art category. So they're not supporting us. And I have some theories on why that is. First off, the art section where people are drawing, they're only making so much money, where a card breaker is making tons, for example, right? These people are breaking cards right online, even like how you did with your video, right? they're making tons of money. They're doing it like at least a show a day kind of thing, you know, where artists are making very little money. So it's not really giving whatnot any like any real value.
Do
And
they
also,
do they take a cut of like if you auction a card off, do they get a percentage of that sale?
yes, they do.
Yeah, okay.
So they might, I don't know what the exact percentage is, but let's just say on average, my cards sell for $160 right now.
Okay.
I know this because I kept track of whatnot of all my sales. The average card sells for 160. Now, keep in mind that's Canadian, not American, so it's probably more like 120.
Okay.
You know, so just for people that are listening in the States, to get a better idea. So say it was 120. Whatnot might get like $5 from that.
Okay.
It's not really that much, but you know, it's a small amount. And then they also, Whatnot charges the shipping. I get none of the, I don't think of the shipping. Whatnot does that. That's all on their end. But they get to decide how much the shipping costs. So they probably are also making a small amount off the shipping as well, right? Because they might be estimating that this might cost $20 to ship to you, right? But it only costs them 10. So then they made another $10.
Do you send the card? Do you send the card to Whatnot when you're done, or do you send it directly to the person?
Nope. When you're done your show, you get your orders. You just go, okay, print this label, print the label, package it, stick it on, and drop it off at, well, it used to be, for us, it was Canada Post, but now they've changed it since the Trump administration changed things a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So now I have to drop it off at UPS.
Okay.
But it's just, it all depends where you are. They figure things out. They handle all the shipping, so you don't have to worry about that headache.
And now in the Whatnot space, because you spent 2 years doing it, does it help provide a like a revenue stream for like a working artist?
I know people that do it kind of almost full time, so they're on there every night. So
Wow.
They might be like every night at 6, or at least 4 nights a week.
Wow.
And they're making a living, you know. I am more of the mindset where I started doing my stuff is like, I have what's called theme shows instead. So at the end of the month, like every 4th Wednesday of the month, I schedule it. I have an art theme show. So I'll usually have them pick the theme. Like I'll put up like a poll and let them decide. And that whatever that decision is what the next month's theme is. So this is supposed to be a Spider-Gwen theme show. So I'm drawing all these Spider Women to be part of that show ahead of time. So I have like, you know, so far I'm drawing her, right? Not Green Goblin. That's a different thing. Let's say 1, you know, 2, let me make sure they're in camera. Like 1, 2, 3, 4 cards right there. This will be the 5th one.
Yep.
And then I have my sketch cover, which I'll grab, that I do with the show.
And so you'll auction off these cards in addition to the one that you'll paint live?
Yes. And
Cool.
then I'll do one live. So I know that it takes me 2 hours to do a card.
Yep.
So therefore, those 2 hours, I can either spread out these auctions like every once in a while,
Yep.
you know, and while I'm doing it, or I can do it all at once and then, you know, just sit there and draw. And then when it's done being drawn, I auction that live. Or no, actually, not that. When it's being drawn, I auction that first so
Cool.
that they can decide. I forgot about that because I used to do it a different way, but I auction it first so they get to decide what they want drawn, right?
Got it.
It could be anything. It's like, I want Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Okay, I'm going to do Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I'll draw that during the show. Now, usually my shows will start off with a lot of people because they're getting, as soon as the auctions are gone, they're gone, right? But most people will kind of be there for a minute, talk, say something, then they'll leave. Then they'll be flipping through other like channels in a sense, like, or if you were like saying like you were on TikTok, you'd be just flipping through, but then you would come back to me and see how far I've gone, and
Okay.
then comment again, you know? So some people don't stick around for the whole thing, but some do, and just chat with me while I'm doing it.
Oh, okay. Like a text chat, or is it
Yeah.
audio?
It's
Yeah.
text.
So now, how do you? What is the average size of your audiences that you've now like currently that you can get on Whatnot?
To be honest, I'd say the average size is about 8 people,
Cool.
but it's always crazy because like the start of the show, there might be about 20 to 30 people.
Yeah,
But after I'm done all those auctions, it'll be about 8 people.
that's still pretty good.
But even if I look right now, that the Spider Gwen show that's on Wednesday has 60 people have bookmarked the show.
Oh, good.
But is 60 people going to be there? Maybe 30, right? But that's still, it's not the same like with card breakers. They could have like hundreds of people in their room the whole time.
Yeah.
So here's the other great thing about Whatnot though is if you're a card breaker, like how you were ripping your cards for X-Men,
Yeah.
we can do a co-host show where you're on the top, I'm on the bottom, and I could be drawing while you're doing the cards thing.
That's cool.
And so that's what I've done. I've done co-host shows with them because then they can see me, they get to know me while they're actually doing what they usually do. It's an added kind of value to their experience. But I mean, you could also do 2 artists at the same time.
Yeah.
You could even do art battles. It's like, okay, let's draw Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Let's see who draws the best Spider-Man, whatever kind of thing.
Do you get to network and socialize with other artists, whether it's in your community or obviously I'm sure digitally you have some interaction, but do you have like local galleries that you go to or that local artists that you like to follow in your area?
Well, there isn't really an art scene in my area, but I
Okay.
do have David Finch, I have Jay Fabach, and Johnny Desjardins, I guess would be the big comic book artists that live in my city.
And who are some artists that inspired you growing up? Was there anybody who stood out that helped kind of mold your approach or passion to creating this artwork?
For comic book stuff
Yeah.
like this, initially it would have been John Byrne. He's like was really big in like the 70s and 80s, right? And that's where I really kind of learned. And then afterwards, it kind of became the new generation, which would have been more like the Jim Lee era, Mark Silvestri, Todd McFarlane kind of stuff. But honestly, like Alex Ross, for example,
Yeah.
Alex Ross,
Yep.
that's more of my inspiration when I started doing the sketch cards, because a lot of people were drawing sketch cards like a traditional comic book with black ink lines. Most of them are like that. And it's not that I don't like that, not that I can't do that, but I wanted to go that more. Well, the famous one would be, I think, Joe Jusko.
Yes. Yeah. One of my favorites.
Yeah, was him, right? So when you look at him and Alex Ross, I was like, I want to kind of get that spirit of what they were doing into these sketch cards. I want people to have these little masterpieces, like not all of them turn out, like even the ones that you have aren't as, they're not even as, I would say, cinematic looking as like this one, for example.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
But the first one you saw, the Sabretooth and Wolverine in the subway, like that one has a real strong cinematic feel to it.
Yeah, for sure.
And it kills me because it was sold on eBay twice, and both times, I don't know why, but the person used the same picture. It was this blown out picture, and you could not tell how good the card was from what it was, like the way the picture was. It was just horrible.
Right.
But it's still, I think it's sold for like $7,000.
The Sabretooth and Wolverine.
Yeah.
I think it was 5,000. I tracked the sales too. Just to.
Oh, I might be saying the Canadian price because I see it.
Yeah,
Canadian.
100% probably. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so $5,000 American.
Yep, 5,000 American. And so what's that like? Like, what are your feelings on that? Like to see your art being valued by collectors in that space, trying to seek it out to to have that in their collections.
Well, number one, it's a great feeling, of course, right? but I always think when I first see something like that listed, I'm like, huh, they're crazy. There's no way my thing's worth $1,000, you know? And just laugh. It's like, come on. They paid me $20 to draw that.
Yeah.
The company, like
Right.
Marvel, well, not Marvel itself, but
Yeah.
Tops or Upper Deck, they paid me like $20, $25 sometimes. Well, 25 has been the highest, but I've had companies only pay you $5 per card, $5 for 2 hours of your time, which is totally taking advantage
Oh my
of.
gosh. Yeah. And now with that imbalance of taking advantage of the artist, do you get benefits? Like, or does it benefit you in other ways, not monetarily necessarily direct from that franchise, but notoriety, getting notability and things like that, like to make your name a little bit bigger, just being one of those artists?
Well, I would say I hate, and listen, budding artists, when someone says pay you an exposure,
Yeah,
don't
right, right,
take it.
right. Yeah.
Don't take it. But to be honest, for the niche market that this card community, the trading card community is, this is the only time in my life, in my like 51 years in my life, that exposure has worked. Right?
Oh, okay.
Let's say when I was doing Whatnot shows, I didn't like I had already done the stuff for like Upper Deck Marvel cards, but they were still not released. So at that time, a card was selling for like anywhere from like $5 to $50, right? Afterwards, now things are like on average 160, where actually I could probably even just pull it up. Let's just see. And keep in mind, I'm saying Canadian prices again.
Yeah, that's okay. Yep.
But let me just look at I keep my track of my sales. So the highest card on Whatnot has sold for $691.87 Canadian,
Awesome.
where the lowest card has sold for $6.92.
Yeah.
But the thing is that on average, if I'm getting 120, I'm guessing that's what it is American, about 120 American, then it's worth it, right? For 2 hours worth of work, that's $60 an hour. That's kind of worth it,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So in that sense, because I've gotten the exposure, then it's helped see the value of my work,
Sure.
or people pay for the value of my work.
But
If
now
that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. No, but you have another life that you live too, right? You said you have a different job, your day-to-day work. Is that art related as well?
Yep. I run my own marketing agency
Okay.
where I provide a whole range of creative and technical services for other agencies. I don't deal with other clients. Other agencies hire my company to work for them. So it's like the two jobs kind of complement each other, like drawing as a hobby and my marketing life, they kind of complement each other. But I mean, sure, there's fundamentals like composition, design, visual storytelling, right? But the purpose of my job it's more about solving a client's problem, right?
Okay.
It's about achieving like the brand's goals. Where illustration, it's more personal, right? It's like it's my interpretation, my energy. Like I don't have to worry about client feedback. I just draw something like for drawing it. It's my own passion. That makes sense?
Yeah.
There's a definite liberty to that.
With the characters that you create, do you have the freedom to create all of these characters because you're one of the rostered artists with Tops and Upper Deck and stuff like that, or they don't care? Like I'm sure there's artists out there who are recreating these characters in their artwork publicly. How does that work? Because you do a lot of it's all I see a lot of the same comic book characters, that you're doing on Whatnot. So there's they don't care about that.
Okay, well, two things to this question, right? So first we'll talk about like the sketch card doing stuff for the licenses, right? So they're very, very strict on, like each set is very strict on, and we have like extensive documentation of what we can and cannot draw,
Yep.
right? So for example, this here, like this would probably get rejected. Even though this is more that McFarlane classic pose of Spider-Man, you know, it's very similar. To them, this would be too sensual.
Yeah,
It would
because
get
the legs are spread and her breasts
Yeah.
are out. Yeah.
Whatever. It's very, very, very like specific.
Yep.
And it can even be down to, you can draw this character, but only this costume. Only,
Got it.
Right? But what's interesting though, for all those rules, like, you know, no guns, no violence, no blood, no gore, like, you know, there's tons of things. Besides all that, there really isn't any art direction, right? It doesn't feel like there's a cohesive creative vision being handed down. It's more like guidelines that you read from like a lawyer, you know?
Yeah.
So you kind of have to go into do it yourself. But like my mindset for every single card, I do it very simply. It's like, I just ask myself, if I was buying one of these packs and I pulled a card of, say, like Wolverine, what would I want to see?
Yeah.
Like, what kind of drawing would make my jaw drop? What would make me proud to own that? You know, and that becomes like my personal mission for each card. Now, the other thing you're talking about is people just drawing fan art, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So fan art is technically illegal, right? If Disney, who owns Marvel, sees you draw Spider-Man, they can send you a cease and desist.
Sure.
Right? Like, that's just drawing it. Never mind selling it or printing it or reproducing it. Like, that is not allowed. Because you have to look at it from their perspective. Like, they have, as a company, like when Marvel started, they have invested so much money in promoting and marketing and growing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You know, but what are you going to do? Everybody does fan art. Everybody does. You know, there was a time where at conventions, there was, and I read this, that they were shutting people down for having fan art.
Wow.
It was very brief, but it did happen. I think people they don't really care as much unless somebody starts profiting a lot.
Right.
You know, they're not going to bother with it. But you never know. There could always come someday, it'd be like, they can come up to me and say, listen, you have to stop doing this, or, you know, or we're going to sue you. You know, another example is like, I posted an Optimus Prime on Facebook, and Facebook took my post down.
Really?
And it was because it was a licensed character, blah, 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 blah. So I contacted them and I said, and it was actually for Hasbro. I drew it for Hasbro. It was a card set.
Yeah.
I had to send them my contract to
Oh my
say,
gosh.
they paid me to draw this. I am just posting it, what I drew for them. So they put it back up. But I actually had to send them my legal contract in order to do that.
Well, good for you.
So,
do you do conventions, and what's that like for you? Because there's so many people at those things. You know, are you comfortable being in those settings? Do you like meeting the fans? Like, have you done any of those before?
Yeah, I've done conventions, but never in the States, right? And especially now, I can't. You simply can't, because there's horror stories where artists from international artists have gone over and they have been detained. They were like the one artist or creator, I think, was like 2 weeks they were detained because they didn't have, even though they were a guest, you have to go through and essentially you have to go through all the paperwork, get a working visa, all this stuff, just to do a convention.
Really?
So it's not worth it anymore to go to the States and do something like that.
Oh my gosh, I never even would imagine such a thing.
Yeah, but yeah. Other than that, though, yes, there's conventions here in Canada, and I have done them. And I decided, like, I did like something like, I think 12 one summer, and like 12 during the whole summer. It was just like, I'm gonna do everything I can. And I found out, and what I did was, because I'm such a geek nerd, I kept track of every expense. And I was losing money doing every single show.
Hmm.
Like I did a show in Toronto and it ended up costing me $3,000 to be there and do it.
Oh my gosh.
After everything is said and done, once you're done paying for hotels, food, transportation, the table, the amount of money you make is nowhere near making it worth it. So I have stopped doing cons completely because I'd rather just go to a con, spend my, $50 to go to it and enjoy the day,
Are you
Then-
recognized? Do people recognize you like when you go to those settings as one of the artists, who's been creating this artwork and all these card sets?
Nope. Not at all.
Is it because they see only your hands all the time?
No, I don't think it's that. I think it's just you have to kind of think of it like the card market is probably bigger in the United States than it is here.
Okay.
For example, like where I live, there isn't a single shop that sells like Marvel cards.
Really?
Like not a single one. Like you couldn't pick up even a loose pack. So I think that anybody that does collect it, that say lives in my city, they have to go and buy it off of like online somewhere, right? So I think that's the difference. I would love to do a convention in the States where people probably would recognize me,
Sure.
and know who I am.
Yeah.
But again, as I said, during this current regime, I'm sorry, it's not like the amount of trouble it would actually be. Like I think about like if it cost me like $3,000 to do a con in Toronto, how much it would cost for me to do like say San Diego. Like
Oh,
how much
gosh.
is a plane ticket? How much is the hotels? How much is the table? How much is this visa going to be, like this work visa? And how much paperwork am I going to have to go through, and lawyers, and like the expenditure alone to just drive me crazy. So I did come up with this one idea that I thought was kind of crazy. Is like, what if I just said to you, okay, I paid for a table at San Diego Comic-Con or whatever, but you're going to sit there, you're going to take a laptop or whatever, and I'm just going to be on live. And I'm going to send you all this artwork and stuff for you to sell at the table. And people can still talk to me, but I'll just be on a computer screen.
Yeah. I mean, that probably would absolutely work. I mean, you're already recognized on that platform and seen in that way to some degree. That would be, a possibility. It's almost like a customized whatnot experience from the convention, right?
Yeah. Or, I mean, but even still, even if you took whatnot out of it, I could go live on YouTube or whatever. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Anything.
Zoom,
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
And it would just be that kind of experience. I mean, sure, I could always express to people that would actually really be engaging, but it'd be like, I'd love to be there in person with you, but, it's not.
Okay, interesting, because if you had a large enough like projector screen in the booth and it was projecting you drawing, that would draw
Yeah.
a huge attraction.
Yeah.
And if you had like the way that you created those sketch cards ahead of time, if you had a collection of the art you had already created up to the moment available at the show for live purchase, and then the auction item would be what you were creating, in front of them on the projector screen, that would absolutely be a feature, and
Yeah, and then you could
Okay.
even have it on the sides of the screen. You could have videos of those ones that are already done playing.
Absolutely.
Loop,
Yeah, and same thing too with QR code. You can scan the code to go to the
Yeah.
video, and similar to what we're doing in the gallery with your sketch cards that'll be there with your artist info and our conversation. How were you discovered? Since it sounds like there's some barriers there, not culturally. I don't want to use the wrong word, but like accessibility to some of these comic things. Growing up, how did you get access to your favorite comics and stuff like that?
Well, we have comic book shops here, but
Yep.
sketch cards. Obviously, this is a new
Got it.
market for me. There just isn't anything. But let's just switch this a bit and say, like, how did I start drawing sketch cards? Right.
Sure, yeah.
So there's a website called cbr.com, comicbookresources.com. Okay. And I had a couple of people that I knew that were friends that were artists that were drawing for them. Like they had this weekly thing called The Line It Is Drawn. And each week, like people would send in, like there would be a theme and people would send in ideas of what they would want drawn, right? And they're always like kind of like funny things, you know, like trying to think of one off the top of my head, like I don't know why I'm drawing a blank, but anyways, I'll give some examples. Like I had to draw say like Freddy Krueger and Wolverine.
Wow.
In the same kind of thing, you know, but there was, I forget what the theme was, but people would send in their ideas and the artist would pick like, oh, I'll draw this one, you draw that one, kind of thing, and then they would put it up the next week, like these are the results. And it was just like a thing that I was just doing. You didn't get paid or anything like that. It was just like some kind of fun exercise to draw, right? And it was always like some kind of mashup or silly kind of thing. You know, it'd be like, what if the X-Men were Gilligan's Island or something kind of, you know, it was always something kind of just fun just to fill the void for the week. But anyways, the author that wrote for the articles, I had sent an email out to all the artists saying that Upper Deck was looking for artists to draw Marvel cards. And here's their email, you know, contact them. So I did that and a year went by. A whole year went by, and then I got an email from this guy Matt was a great guy. He was on what was that show, Love on the Spectrum? If you ever see that on Netflix, he was in one of the episodes.
Interesting.
Anyways, so he sends me an email, asks me if I want to draw Marvel cards, right? And I was like, yeah, sure, I do, you know, whatever. And I had to send a couple samples in or whatever. But I was like, wow, it only took you guys a year to finally, it must be pretty backed up. And he's like, no, I just saw your stuff on social media and I liked it and I wanted to see if you wanted to do it.
Wow.
So my email didn't matter. It was the fact that he actually had come across my artwork and was interested.
And that's even better. Yeah.
Yeah. But even still, like a year later, then I was like, okay. And then even a year after that, basically, was when things finally got published, right? So that people would see it. I mean, my whole idea about drawing sketch cards was because of cons, because I found that, like, the price point for artwork, I needed a cheaper option, right?
Yeah.
I needed something that was going to be like, oh, $25 for somebody to buy at a con. That was my idea. You know, it's a smaller, quicker thing. You know, I could sell it. Because I was trying to make cons work. I was like, but I just kept hitting. I actually did a whole bunch of videos on YouTube about each con I was doing. And I was breaking down, this is how much this costs, this is how much that costs, this is how much I sold. It was it's very boring and robotic, but I really did go through it. And I'm like, yeah, they're not worth doing, you know?
Well, that's just good for another artist to see too, who might have like more of a dream than understanding the reality of it, because you go there with these expectations and you'll spend the money to get to that point, but not realize that it just might not work out. And it might, right? But it also might not. And maybe, and it seems like you're very business oriented with your artwork, and so am I. I track everything, all my spreadsheets, over the years, every sale, where it goes, what the gallery commission was, and things like that. And it is a business, because the paint's not free and the canvases aren't cheap. And
exactly.
You know, it's just good responsibility even for young artists to understand. And so when I mentor kids in the gallery, that's a big part of it, is helping teach them, you know, to go from studio to wall to label to love and criticism, you know, depending on what's going to happen there, but then also how to value their artwork and what the value is for them to let it go, you know, and begin their journey of sales and price points and stuff like that. And do you create in any other mediums besides sketch and illustration? Do you paint or do any other sculpting or anything like that?
Well, when I was young and in high school, I was in an art program, and it just started. It was like something like Fame, right? And I'm sure there's tons of them in the States too, like that. And when I got there, I took drawing, and then I took painting, and then I took printmaking, and then I took sculpture, then I took video editing, then I took drama, Then I took like all these things for like photography, even like I even took piano, and I was taking all these art classes. So yeah, I've done sculpture, printmaking, and all that stuff like that. And then when I went to college, I took animation, and then yeah, so I've done all kinds of mediums. But once I was done school, I taught myself digital illustration, which I pretty much did from like 2000 until the pandemic. Like pretty much all my stuff was digital. I didn't do traditional artwork. I hadn't drawn traditionally in many, many years. It was the pandemic that I actually started drawing traditional again.
Okay.
And wasn't like picking it up right away. It took like over a year or so for me to actually get to the level of what I should have been if I would have kept going. I got to say that much, but I think it was a blessing because I don't know why I started doing it. It was about around the time of the pandemic, but I just started drawing traditionally again, or with like marker and ink and pens, and I have done paintings even. But by doing that, I think it was a really smart move because all of a sudden, that's when all the AI started coming in, and like where people, as soon as that stuff happened, all of a sudden physical artwork started to go up in price, which I noticed. It was weird, where people started to value more rather than a digital drawing that I could do, right? Which nobody's really going to buy. I could sell prints of it, and that's about it. But the traditional work started, like the prices started going up and up and up. And it's like, it has been. It's like people have started to appreciate something handmade more so now than ever before.
I mean, there's that joy of holding the art in your hand, especially if it's one that you want or one that you've been looking forward to or saving up for. And I keep my artwork reasonably priced because I would love for it to be accessible to, no matter what demographic is interested in shopping for it. And I had this one woman, and she saved up her money for a couple months to purchase a $500 painting, and it meant so much to her to obtain it, and it meant so much to me that she worked that hard and waited that long just to have that art hanging up in her house. And it's this really great interaction, and like the art that you're creating is very joy based, I think. Like, because it goes beyond the art. It's got nostalgia attached to it. It's a really unique space to be creating in.
Yeah, like even like something like somebody does love Scooby-Doo, right?
Yeah.
And that will be something for them, where somebody else might like, that's the Green Goblin.
Yeah.
Like there is an attachment to it for sure, and I mean, I would love to draw my own stuff too, but to be honest, nobody's going to buy that. Nobody cares about my characters. They don't know who they are. No,
Well, I don't know. I don't know if that's necessarily true. What is your
my characters?
No, well, yeah, I would love that. I would love to see them. But what is your do you have a goal that you're working towards right now? Is it to continue to elevate in the sketch card space? Is it to make your own comic book, whether people care about it or not? But like, I feel like your skill set is so strong that you could absolutely navigate through, the building of a book to some degree.
I often think about it, but the thing is that I look at it more like this is a retirement project.
Yeah.
As in like the amount of time you need to spend to create like a comic book. And if you're going to do that, you might as well just do it like a graphic novel.
Yeah.
Make the whole story, get it done, and then put it out. But it's more of a project that you would want to do when you're not trying to fight to pay the bills each month.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, that is something that I keep everything kind of locked away, or ideas written down, or they're saved for when that time comes.
Yeah.
And I go, okay, I don't have to do my day job anymore. So I'm going to pick away at this and then put it out. If it makes money, it makes money. If it doesn't, it doesn't matter. I finished it,
And maybe that's a good process too, because you know, you'll only continue to gain more popularity among your fans and friends and build that network. You know, it seems like you're really good at about bringing people along with you into these places that love watching you draw and love collecting your artwork. That maybe the time is down the road, you know, where you have got a bigger audience. And how
Mhm.
about when you first started taking on the sketch projects, did it elevate your game? As an artist, did it help change for the better? Like make you a better artist in that space?
Um, I think I think no matter what, yes, because like I think I'm in competition with myself, right?
Yeah.
Every time I draw something, I want to make sure that it's better than the last one. Now, it's not always the case, but I'm always striving for that. And like, obviously, I'll look at other inspiration too. Like, I look at like these Chinese kids on this Red Note app, right? Which is basically like a TikTok. I don't know if people know about it, but
Hmm.
there are artists on there, and they're drawing on the same size, and they are cards. They call them tiny card artists or whatever. But the amount of I have one. I give me one moment.
Yeah, go. What do you like to collect? Like, what is your treasure? Do you collect other artists' art, um, artifacts? Like, what's something that makes you happy? Some people are minimalist and they don't want things around, you know, cluttering and stuff like that. But do you have treasure that you have or surround yourself with or collect?
Well, I don't actively collect artwork. I mean, I collect art books and techniques and or whatever, but I will buy occasionally other artists' work that I'm friends with,
Oh,
you
cool.
know, as a support. And I'm not talking like somebody that I know next door. Like if there's another artist like on Whatnot, for example, and they've drawn something and I'm like, yeah, I like that. I'll buy it, it's more like I want that friendship, like
Oh,
here's some examples. There's one, you know, it's totally a different style of mine than mine,
yeah,
but these just both happen to be Daredevil. But and this is another one. But I'm like, yeah, I want to support them, right?
yeah. Who are the artists?
This is Flatline Comics, so flatlinecomics.com.
Cool.
And this one is Morton. It's Morton Illustration. This is watercolor paper. That's why
Yeah,
there's nothing on the back. Morton Illustration, I believe, on Instagram.
it's really cool.
But yeah, like that's just like a quick watercolor, you know?
Uh,
So,
that's an interesting point. Like, what are some ways that you know, modern artists can support each other through those digital platforms, where in the past it was more physically, like in the physical presence of these artists, but now you have access to artists from all over the world.
oh yeah.
It almost feels a little distant as much as it feels abundant. You know, how are some good ways to connect and help support these folks?
Well, I gotta say this, and artists are horrible about this, but we're all in the same boat trying to breach these social media algorithms, but we're all being buried.
Yeah,
And the thing is like the only way that things like spread beyond like their small pools is if they're liked, if they're commented on, they're shared, right? So whenever I can, I will say even like just a one word, say that's cool or whatever on something, because no matter what, even though I'm saying that to them, I know that that's actually helping these algorithms give them more eyes on their work, right?
yeah,
So like when I'm going to bed, for example, like I try to do like I'll open up every single social media app one at a time before bed and just go the first 5 artists that I see, I'm going to like and say something on their work on
nice.
each one, you know, like, and I'll try and do that just to help try and promote some people, because like even like people that I've known for years, I'll have to go to their page once in a while and be like, man, look at all this art I haven't seen. It's not even showing up on my feed at all.
Hmm.
It's like I've been missing out on all this because for some reason these algorithms are just burying us. They don't want people to see our stuff for some reason. I don't know.
And that's hard too, because I find it like torture to be on social media sometimes, and I just want to like get away from the computer interfaces. And I have a charity and a business and the art thing, and then I curate a gallery, and so I'm having to load content onto like 4 or 5 different places, and I
Yes.
just want to be away from it. How do you, what do you do for your downtime to separate from the marketing, from being on whatnot, from being very heavy in social media? Do you like to hike? Are you outdoors person, or what is it? Is it family time? I saw a dog running around a little
Yes.
earlier. How do you find a healthy balance for yourself?
Healthy balance. Healthy balance. All right. All right. Let me just think here. Um. So I gotta say, and I hate to say this, but anybody who's listening, I do not have a healthy balance, people. If you don't want to do what I'm doing, I'm very meticulous and I do everything scheduled, like right down to the minute. It's like I have to have this card done today, this card done tomorrow, but that's the extra hobby stuff. I have my 8 hours of work day, everything planned in. But to be honest, like I wake up, I work, I take a small break when I have my one meal a day. I usually only end up having one meal a day because I'm
Uh-huh.
just working the whole time. When I'm done that, I go back to like drawing and trying to do things for sets, trying to even touch commissions or whatever until it's like almost time for bed. I'll watch maybe one show with my wife and then we pass out. And then I get up and I do it all again. And that's 7 days a week. It's nonstop. I don't have that. I mean, you must have something, but I don't have that healthy lifestyle. Like, there's no work-life balance. I probably have burnt out many years ago, and I just haven't admitted it to myself. I just can't. I know I'm always like, I got to keep going. The list is huge. The list is piling up. Every moment that I'm not doing this, the more it piles up. It's not healthy.
So I'm definitely screwing up your schedule then today. I mean, you carved out a pretty big chunk of time for me. And
It's all right.
I appreciate that. Now, do you think you want to find something? Because when you left art before, for that one year you mentioned, you stopped creating and it caused like a sense of depression, and it wasn't good for you. Do you think finding something would help you seek balance when you're ready to back away from that like full-time go 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 steam engine of creativity for yourself?
I want to say I want it,
Yeah,
but I don't know if my inner self would let it. That's the thing. It's like it's kind
sure.
of crazy. It's almost like I don't know. I have to blame our society. Like we are constantly trying to survive,
Yeah.
and that kind of sucks. But in the same sense, it makes me like constantly wanting to keep going and going and going, and I feel guilt if I don't get it done, right?
Yeah.
So I don't. Maybe there will be a time. Like I know a couple years ago, I started developing arthritis, and it was painful to draw, and I
Hmm.
thought, okay, I only have a few more years left. But then I seen like a specialist, and I got on pills, and it's like, oh, I'm back to normal.
Wow.
So it's like I almost thought that my days were numbered, and I was worried about that. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's become so much of a part of my life that if I did stop, I think I wouldn't know what to do. I don't
Yeah.
know, or at least slow down. I don't know if it would feel right. It might have to be something like almost like an addict, just like gotta gradually wean yourself off and
Yeah,
have
of
more
course.
time for yourself. You know?
Yeah, and I work with folks that I do suicide prevention in the veteran space and in the teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
And a big thing is once they're out of the military is they don't know what to do now, and they feel like their best years are behind them. Even if they're young, they could be in their 20s and they just went to war or did something and they're not sure what to do next. So
Yeah.
I personally always think about it because when I create, I'm very prolific because if I am prolific, it means I'm neglecting some other parts of my life. And it's a lot, but I also get my best work is done during that time. So I'm trying
Mm-hmm.
to find ways to find balance of maybe not creating nocturnally, only creating during the day, you know. don't drink wine. I like having a glass of wine at night, but then now you're sleepy. Now it's influencing the work. It's not, it doesn't work, so try to find that healthy creative balance to be able to have an output. But your, the way you approach your work almost seems like just you need to set the time aside to do it because you just, and I'm sure don't take this the wrong way, but it just seems effortless in a way that you create and can produce these images that you can mathematically say, I'm going to finish this card today when Dave's done bothering me, and tomorrow do the other one. So it's interesting because you're like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, well, it's mainly because like if I've done like 900 sketch cards, I
Yeah.
know it's going to take me 2 hours to do it. So if I have 2 hours cut up time for that, that's fine. If I'm doing a sketch cover, I know depending on it, on my idea, if it's like more like this, it's going to take me 6 hours. If it's like a headshot, it might take me 4 hours. If it's like Wolverine fighting Sabretooth, it's going to take maybe 16 hours,
Wow.
I kind of know just based on that. Sorry, my phone is ringing. I'll just let it go to voicemail or whatever.
Oh, that's okay.
We have
Um,
one of those landlines.
Oh, I love it. I think that's great. I know my son can't believe that a phone was once attached to a wall. Now it's just attached to our bodies.
We
And
have rotary dial ones here.
yeah, there's something very soothing about that. I had a rotary dialed phone uh, back in the day. Um, Man, I feel like we talked about. Do you have anything that you want to contribute or any thoughts that you had, based on what we were talking
I
about?
thought I'd be drawing a lot more, to be honest, but it's just been such a great conversation that I kept
No, this is
stopped.
this is this is awesome, and I think this is important. I'm glad that you circled back to that because part of this project and exhibit is bringing kids into the gallery, into the art space, and using that as a tool for them. And I tell some of the kids that
Yeah,
I mentor, you don't need to open your mouth if you want to say something or express something. You can do it through art, and here's the tools to do that. And let's figure out what it is you want to say. And so I think I would love to have you talk on it a little bit.
um, I think my biggest message is, and this is me personally, forget the idea of like natural talent. When people throw that term around, I don't believe in it, right? Drawing, it's like a skill. It's like plain and simple. It's like learning an instrument or playing a sport, right? So some people may have an aptitude for it and they grasp it faster, you know, but I think it's 100% learned. You have to put like time in. It's like you'll learn it, you'll grow, you'll have moments when you get better, you'll have moments when you feel like you're getting worse, but that's all part of the process, right? The only secret is just keep going. And once you find your footing, like once you find like how I have with these cards right now, don't get lazy. It's easy to settle into a style that becomes comfortable, a crutch, and stops you from improving. Like you have to keep like pushing yourself. And like there's so many people like we were touching on before. You can watch professional illustrators draw online, and you don't even need to go to a fancy school or expensive supplies. You just need like a pencil, a piece of paper, or even like some cheap watercolors from the dollar store, whatever. It's like you have to have that hunger to learn. It's like all the information's out there. Like we didn't have like the internet when we were young, right? We had to just go and do things or books or libraries and such. But I mean, you have a wealth of it. So just be willing to put in the work and just keep going. Is that good?
Yeah, I think it's so important to attach the hard work thing to it because in a society where a lot of things are based on instant gratification, it's real easy to get discouraged if it doesn't hit you don't hit the home run right away. But to keep on going. But I think you lead by example just as a fan watching you work. And I think I messaged you the one day. I'm like, you are a monster, man. You are just cranking out this artwork like crazy and like a freight train that's just being undeniable, right? Being undeniable in your craft and in the quality that you put out. And I was talking to another artist and were talking about when they're looking at your work, they all feel like you just put out a masterpiece, like that you're pouring so much into that card that it just emulates that there's love behind it, and even necessity. Like you said it, you need art.
I
You're
do.
drawing that card as if your life depends on it, and that's what's coming out of it. And it is cinematic and has emotion, and it's quite remarkable to see that. So I think when kids are see what you're doing, and then also hear how important it is to work hard at it, I think that's you're already making the recipe for, for success there.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. But yeah.
For sure. I mean, I'm a giant kid at heart, and I loved, I knew your style just moving the card over a little bit. I knew it was you, and as far as legacy goes, like you've got a very distinct style, that you create in, and it is making a positive impact out there.
But I think I might be throwing people off lately because I've been posting all those 1975 art lately, which
Did
is
you
just
have to switch something up here to go back
I
to it? When
did.
I saw you do it, I was like, I wonder what process he had to go through. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Okay, so essentially, it's almost, and I hate to say this, it feels like I'm drawing crappy, but I know it's not crappy because it is a style, you know? It's like people are so used to me filling out my forms with color and light, right? And I'm like, no, I'm just using one color and I have to rely
Yeah.
on the ink and the hatching, but I can't use the ink and hatching that I know now that works better. I had to sit there and pull out all these images from old artists and go, I'm allowed to do this. I'm not allowed to do that. So there was a lot of rules and lessons I put upon myself just to do that. And I was like, nobody's going to know this is my stuff once they see it, you know?
They will once it's compared to others, like once they see it probably in a collective space. But
Yeah.
it's almost like being on like one of those TV shows like Chopped or something, and like here's some ingredients and then everybody's got to make this dinner. Like you've
Yeah,
got
exactly.
and so you just made dinner different than the rest of the guys and girls, and
I mean, there was no requirement to do this way. I could have done it the same way I've always done it, but I was like, I need to shake things up in my life, you know? I need to go and do something different just for a bit. And I'm happy I did it, you know?
yeah,
It's
it's a
just like,
vintage feel, and
mhm.
outside of a deadline or a financial miscue, what would stop you from turning down, or what would make you turn down a project? Like, have you ever turned down commissions before, or been approached for sets that you're like, that's just not for me. I'm not really interested in that.
um, there have been, I see, I haven't turned down many sets because I'm still new to it again, because I want to keep that dialogue going, but I have started to turn down some where I'm like, yeah, I'm not into it. And the main reason is this is like, for example, I don't know if I can talk about it because I don't know if it's been released, so I shouldn't say it. Well, let's just say the subject matter was something that was something I'm not familiar with. I
Okay.
don't know it. It'd take me a lot of research to be able to get it done right. Um, because maybe I don't know who the characters are or whatever, or then I don't even know if I'm going to be putting the right kind of pose or emotion behind this character, not knowing them. So it's more like, yeah, I don't feel comfortable doing this because I don't relate to them,
Yeah.
right? So I kind of just went, I'm not able to, you know. And what was the other part of the question?
Yeah, like like things that come your way, and then commissions. Like, if somebody asked you to do a subject matter that you're
Oh,
like, that's not really cool. I don't want to do
yeah.
that.
Um, there is a huge not safe for work part of the component that people ask for.
Yeah,
And um, I don't like it. So I won't do that really drastic stuff, but I will cater to some of the more sensual things for some people. Even I am like, ugh. Even when I draw something sensually, I'm
yeah.
like, ugh, I don't like doing this, but it looks good. It did look good, and they're going to be really happy.
And
So sensual,
you could add your own subtlety to it in a way that it maybe gets it done. Like it's a subtle suggestion on your part. Like, here's how I can do it, but I'm not doing
yeah,
it the other way. Yeah,
yeah, not like I don't know, that cheesecake bimbo kind of stuff or whatever. But
yeah,
there is a huge community for that. And I'm like, listen, there are a lot of artists that do love to draw this way. I'm just not that one.
yeah.
And, just search them out. You know, I'm not the guy for this.
And at the end of the day, they're showing a Duke. You know, like that's
Yeah.
you want it to be something that you're proud of, that you produce too, right? And um And is it better for you? Like whenever I have somebody who wants to commission me for an abstract painting, I always just say, just tell me what size you're looking for and keep following the art. Unless
Mhm.
if I take an attempt at it and it doesn't work, like just keep following it. If you see something, or I'll send to you these sizes. I always like when somebody picks something that's already done. Like
Yeah.
so for you and you like you're creating those 5 or 6, Spider-Gwen cards to go out. Like, do you like it better when somebody buys something that's already done and it's like a done deal, or to go, or do you still appreciate the live take suggestion and go into it, just to keep it kind of fresh for you?
I like both. I really do, but I find that it's good for me to have like those 5 cards prepared because I can't sit there for 10 hours to draw it, right?
Yeah,
I'd rather just have the show go, but then here's all the stuff that is available now. If you like it, buy it. If you don't, that's quite all right. We'll
yeah,
just move on. I mean, I've sold out of every original piece of artwork I have. I never have anything available since I've been doing whatnot. Like there was a while when I first started where some things would sit for a couple months, but now everything goes. I'm I I have no problem if something doesn't sell because then I have inventory, which I've never get. I'm not afraid to have it.
yeah, yeah. And it probably doesn't sit around very long, so
Hmm.
uh yeah, well, I'm gonna try and go watch one of your whatnot. That's this Wednesday. You're doing the show?
There is on this Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right?
If
But
you have a promo slide or something, I'll share it through my page or through the gallery page, and I probably won't have this video done by then, but I'll still like to support and promote.
yeah.
If we can get some more eyes out there and watch it, and I'm actually making a painting, fan art of her in the
Oh
studio.
yeah,
It's a
cool.
large sculpture. I'll send you. It's not done yet, but I'll send you the in progress. So when I saw your theme, I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. I was like, for a
Hmm.
couple months now, I've been working on this piece.
I
And
think
yeah,
I was gonna say I've been trying to do this new thing. It depends if I can squeeze it in, but before the show, like a day before, I'm trying to make a short 1 minute video to promote shows now
yep,
because I feel like the videos or reels or whatever is what is getting more eyeballs rather than just a static post. But so
sure.
I'm trying to create those now. I've done it like twice. So this will be like the third time I try and create one, but hopefully I'll have that done tomorrow and I
Okay,
can send it to you.
cool.
But
Absolutely. Uh, Duke, the great and powerful Duke, thank you so much for taking
not
this
powerful.
time. I know you've got so much work to do, and it really, really means a lot. And I hope that above anything, that message gets out there to any of the artists that get to see your art in person, that I'll have in the gallery, but also get to hear your words of wisdom and combining hard work and passion in a space that will just really ultimately change somebody's life by having, art as a part of it. So thank you so much for taking the
No
time
problem.
with us today. And do you have any closing thoughts, anything else you wanted to add?
Mm, I don't know.
We
Closing
did it.
thoughts. Now you're putting like a weight on me.
No, we
No.
did it, man. We did it. I think I think we found it, and maybe one day we can do. It'd be awesome to do some sort of collaboration. I would love to open up some packs while you
Yeah.
draw, or if you did want to do something, a convention collaboration. I'm
Hmm.
interested in all that fun stuff. So we'll stay in touch on ways that we can get your art out there into the world and make it a better place.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. For sure.
So.
I'm open
Hang on the call
when I
for a
have time.
sec. Yeah, hang on the call for a sec, and just
Mhm.
wanted to say thanks, and I'll make sure we put all the avenues where people can find you on all your
Sure.
platforms. And thank you so much again for all you do, Duke. We really appreciate it.
No problem.